Elizabeth is a vintage quarry truck who works all over the roads of the island of Silver. She is a very polite truck who can easily get along with the other engines, and they look up to her. However, she is also a very serious character too, as she can be seen shouting at others if they misbehave. In the end, she just wants to make sure everyone is safe and following Sir Topham Hatt's orders. One day, Thomas was talking to Bertie at Farquhar when Elizabeth steamed in. "I must say," she sniffed, "if I were you two, I wouldn't spend most of my time dawdling about races and get to work." Bertie and Thomas were offended. Now, Elizabeth," Thomas said assuringly, "we do more than racing. And," added Bertie, "we do a good job of it. Although I beat Thomas all the time." Thomas let out steam indignantly. Then, all of a sudden, Thomas remembered something he wanted to say to Elizabeth ever since they first met. "Hey, Elizabeth." "Yes?" she asked. "And make it quick." "If Sir Topham Hatt is pleased to have you back, how come he doesn't drive you all the time?" Elizabeth was taken aback and looked away. "Well?" asked Bertie. "You gonna give an answer?" "Well," sighed Elizabeth, "it was a while ago, but I never wanted to tell anyone besides him of why we haven't seen each other since." "What do you mean, since?" asked Thomas. "Tell us." "Well, if you want to hear it," sighed Elizabeth, "here goes. Back when Sir Topham was just a young fellow, he had such a liking for engines, particularly steam engines. But he also liked road vehicles, particularly steam trucks like me. The very first steam truck he met, however, was none other than me," she said triumphantly. Thomas and Bertie rolled their eyes. Whenever there was a steam fair, Sir Topham would gladly drive me as the attraction there. But boy, did he have problems with his driving abilities. "Calmly set aside the driving pedal," I said. "Sorry, my dear," he called back. "Just catching my breath." Something I would say. With such great success, me and Sir Topham had each other's backs. And whenever I was bullied because of my age, Sir Topham would kindly stand in for me. "She's far more than an old vintage truck. She's my special vintage truck." Oh, how good those glory days were. Until that accident happened. "What accident?" asked Bertie. Elizabeth sighed and continued with the story. "One night, me and Sir Topham were heading home. He promised his mother he would get there before 8 and was determined not to be a bad driver. As he was grabbing his hot tea, I suddenly lost control. I skidded and skated along the road, helplessly calling for help. 'Oh, Topham dear, slow down!' Topham was all anxious and tried to regain control again, but it was difficult. 'Oh, hold on, Elizabeth. We'll make it out of this,' he called. But we wouldn't. The road up ahead was in construction, and I knew I was going too fast to stop. I sounded my horn to grab Topham's attention. He looked up and saw all the construction ahead. 'Whoa, slow down!' And he tapped the brakes hard on. But it was too late. Luckily, Topham wasn't hurt. But due to the accident, the construction was very much delayed. I was carefully hoisted out, but Sir Topham felt very ashamed. I'm very sorry, Elizabeth. I don't know what my mother told me. Oh, it's all right, Topham dear, I said assuringly. These mistakes happen to everybody. Topham smiled and promised to return to me as he walked home. But the next day when he came back, I was gone. Where on earth did my first truck go? He asked. The men at the construction thought I was abandoned and took me to an old shed where no one could find me. Thomas and Bertie were surprised. I suppose that accident scared Sir Topham Hatt so much that he doesn't want to drive you again? Asked Thomas. Oh, no fear, assured Elizabeth. He drives me sometimes, but he finds his car more suitable nowadays. Well, that explains how you two met, said Bertie. If only I was ever built in that time, that way I could see it all. No matter what, said Thomas, I'm sure he's more easy to drive than any of us engines. Elizabeth smiled. True, and I'm sure he'll like to do it again sometime. If only he learned to drive properly. Thomas and Bertie had to agree.